And the invitation now is to pick up a telescope and together take a little bit more of a deep dive into what you will discover in the reports when they are shared with you and how you have the opportunity to read them. We hope that you'll keep the story in mind because the reports are large, but they are created as a source of storytelling to really invite us into co-creating together. And so the little fairy tale you've just heard should support you and encourage you as you discover them yourself. The first thing that we will really see as we pick up this telescope is that these tools are unusual kinds of tools. These approaches offer us a special and particular kind of tool, not one which is designed to control, define, or fix, but ones which are intended to support people who care about how learning happens in their own learning landscape and to see what already is there within their learning environment, as well as what wants to become and what is becoming. And so they are tools for growth, both being and becoming. When we look through the telescope and we look at the first report, which is the Learning Ecosystem Evolutionary Framework, what we will discover is a framework that supports us to consider, to visualize, and to appreciate all of the existing and emerging assets within our learning ecosystems, within our learning spaces, the organizations, people, resources, energies, and opportunities that are already present there. It helps us to see what is there and also what is wanting to become and what may be missing, and to identify where we could find the resources and the energy to address those missing gaps. We also discover where we may be stuck and where we could further move in those learning ecosystems. And what this tool does is it helps us to focus in a very, very complex system on a variety of the different dimensions and aspects that are contained within a learning ecosystem. And so, for instance, it helps us to view and understand how each of these dimensions themselves will need to evolve and morph in order to really reach the potential of the evolving and morphing larger learning ecosystem. So we look at, for instance, issues around how stakeholder relationships may change over time, what learner experiences may change into, how learners may be engaged, the structure of the system, what will need to shift and change with the structure of the system as we move from an emergent space to a young ecosystem and onwards and upwards to a mature and a flourishing learning ecosystem. How do relational dynamics need to shift? How too does the digital and technological aspects of the learning ecosystem fit in with the human changing and the structural changing of that ecosystem? How does learning ecosystem leadership need to shift to accommodate these changes? And finally, how does our monitoring and understanding and reflection approach need to change? Most importantly, through making all of these things visible, this gives us an opportunity to discuss together, to think together, to dialogue, and to so really become collectively intelligent about how we want to shift our collective learning landscapes. Secondly, when we take the telescope and we turn it to focus on report 2, which is the report that focuses on the School Weavers tool. This tool will unpack for us what at a micro level, a school level, how we can best support those who are leading schools, which are the smallest and most coherent unit of the larger expansive learning ecosystem. How we can support these leaders to invite their entire school community into a process of shared growth and understanding, co-creation, and belonging. The School Weavers tool allows communities to visualize, measure, assess, understand together, and therefore more easily attend to something which for far too long has been considered undefinable: school culture. It helps whole school communities to become shared co-creators of a school culture that fosters care, belonging, and an environment within which lifelong, life-wide, life-deep learning can be actively facilitated. The School Weavers tool helps school communities to focus on the aspects, the key domains of school life that make for thriving learning environments. These are, for instance, empathy, trust, purpose, the level of innovation and collaboration present, and how much a school is able to foster equity and personalization of their learning skills. What's more, this very much is a tool as process. So although the surveys, which are sent out to the full school community, can offer a snapshot and then a regularly repeated metronome effect for checking in and seeing what is emerging in school culture, what the School Weavers tool really does is it supports the school community to evolve together through a process which encompasses community engagement, data collection and resonance, co-reflecting and analyzing together, and then together being able to move into systemic action. It really is a process that fosters dialogue, connection, and shared understanding and creation. And then finally, moving our telescope to look at the third report, we examined the efforts that have been undertaken with our partners in Ghana, UNESCO, TETAL Africa, the Jacobs Foundation, the Ghanaian Ministry of Education, and our technical partners, Dexterra, to support a national level government with a tool that is designed to operate at the macro level. In other words, to support decision makers to be able to visualize the extensive and extremely complex learning ecosystem that is at play at a national level. Our intention here is to try and support the ministry to transition in its thinking and its management approach towards a learning ecosystem model for the country that can allow them to mobilize the full set of societal resources available to support learning and the attainment of SDG 4 goals. And so this tool, which is still in development and is being co-created alongside the ministers of education, the government, and other stakeholders within the country, is designed to proactively initiate and activate the connections and approaches across and between sectors to allow for progressive maturation of the national learning ecosystem approach. And so with that little deep dive into each of the three reports,